I thank the member and give the call to the member for New England.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Chair. The CWA is an organisation that I've had through my family a long involvement with, and probably the most prominent was my grandmother. My grandmother was one of the chairs of one of the divisions in her area. She lived at Adelong, and I remember at one stage watching Four Corners. And on Four Corners, it was around about the time of Germaine Greer and the female eunuch. There was a women's meeting, and as I watched it, I saw this lady in a big hat, and she was, Madam Deputy Chair, holding forth with a whole group of other people baying around her, trying to tear her in an argument limb from limb. And I said to Natalie at the time, I said, look at this lady, look at the bravery of her. She's standing up and really sort of giving her position and argument, seems to be doing it in a very dignified way. And then I said, hang on. I looked at it and I said, that's my grandmother. And I think that sort of personified what was there. My grandmother was not a shrinking violet. She was an early graduate of Sydney University, being a teacher out in country areas. But a vision, and I suppose that time was portrayed through the CWA, is that you can get a long way by being dignified and being basically emotionally sober and presenting a point of view, and people will listen to that more than they will listen to volume. And I suppose I should have taken more notice of her. But it's in 1922 the CWA was formed. It's slightly younger than the National Party, so they've lived in a parallel course. And its purpose, of course, was for the benefit and advancement of women and children in regional areas, especially regional, not exclusively, especially regional, remote and agricultural areas. And it was so vitally important that people of those days and today get that capacity of going out and meeting other people and having that social interaction that alleviates some of the concerns that might be present in their mind and work to a common purpose of bringing about betterment to others. It could be seen, it has, I would say, a conservative moniker in honour to God, loyalty to the throne and service to the country, but I suppose many members decide which parts of that they pick and choose. And service to the country, I believe, has been a preeminent form throughout that. Of course, for my grandmother, honour to God was also a very, very strong issue. Loyalty to the throne, I don't know quite where she would have fitted on that one, but you know, it's so incredibly important that we understand that the work of the CWA goes on, and in recent times, especially with the drought, they have been exemplary in trying to do their part in getting out aid, especially assistance with stock, out into the areas that have been afflicted by the drought. It is an issue that they have prevailed, and people sometimes are cynical towards them, but as an organisation, they've survived a lot longer than others that have come and gone before them. I would dare say political parties that have come into an existence and disappeared. And it's always one of those facts that sometimes, you know, there might be a cynicism, the so-called tea and scones group, Cranky Women's Association, all these sort of pejoratives that might have been cast in their direction, but they're still there. In fact, I think that they're growing now probably more in urban areas than they're growing in regional areas. And this in itself brings a change in the complexion and tenets of the organisation and sort of where their motivations and maybe, to be quite frank, some of their political leanings have gone. And that's entirely okay, because any organisation that is dynamic and to survive over a long period of time has to change with the times and evolve, and the CWA is doing precisely that. So in closing, Madam Deputy Speaker, I always remember I think it was the Latin quote by, I think it was Virgil, Dux Femina Facti, which is that the woman leads events. It was a reflection on the Queen of Carthage, Dido. And I think that in itself has always shown that there are certain times which are preeminent in history and of the day where the women will lead the events and the CWA, Country Women's Association of Australia, does precisely that.
I thank